It's been a year with a pandemic COVID-19 that we face. Not only we, the people around the world face this disease, COVID-19. But did you realize that there's a lot of diseases that occur around the world, and it's been a long time of period? Crimeo-Congo-Hemorrhagic fever, CCHF. Have you been here before? So, our team would like to present about Crimeo-Congo-Hemorrhagic fever, about the history, the nature and the issue for this disease, and the outbreak cases during the long time of period. And the main idea for this presentation is the work ethic, the application ethic, and the principle that we use to face this pandemic. Before that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Aiman bin Zainal. Next, my friends will continue with the history. Let me start.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Fazli bin Hussein. So I'm going to talk about the history of the disease. So the Crimean-Congo hemorrhagic fever is a tick-borne viral disease first described in 1940s. And then the disease was first characterized in the Crimean in 1944 and given the name of Crimean hemorrhagic fever. It was then later recognized in 1969 causes of illness in the Congo, thus resulting in the current name of the disease. So the Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever is found in East Europe, in Northwest China, Central Asia, Southern Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian subcontinent. So for the description of the nature and the issue involved in the epidemic and outbreak case. So the CCHF virus is transmitted to people either by tick bite or through contact with the infected animal blood or tissue during the immediately after slaughter. So the animals such as cattle, goats, sheep, and health serve as amplifying hosts for the virus. So the majority of cases are people involved with such as agriculture workers, slaughterhouse workers, and the veterinarians. Human-to-human transmission can occur resulting from close contact with the blood, organ, or other bodily fluid or of infected person. So the length of the incubation period depends on the mode of acquisition of the virus. Okay. Okay. Onset of symptoms is sudden with fever, myalgia, neck pain, stiffness, backache, head, sore eyes, and photophobia, sensitive to light. After 2 to 4 days, the agitation may be replaced by sleepiness, depression, and lassitude. Okay, and other clinical signs include fast heart rate and the petechial rash. Rash causes by bleeding into the skin, like you can see here in the picture. Is the example of the skin rash. Okay, so the mortality rate of CCHF is around 30%, with death occurring in the second week of illness. In patients who recover, improvement generally begin around 9 or 10 days after the illness. Okay, so the CCHF virus is maintained in vertical and horizontal transmission cycle involve isolated tick and burial of wild and domestic vertebrate which do not show signs of illness. CCHF occurred most frequently among agriculture workers following the bite of infected tick, and to a lesser extent among slaughterhouse workers exposed to the blood and tissue of the infected livestock and medical personnel through contact with the body fluids of infected patient. The virus has been reported in a wide area of Southern Africa, through Southern Europe, and into part of Western China. The virus is principally associated with tick of the genus Hyla-Homa, though it has also been isolated from other general of exotic. So the virus suggests that there is significant genetic diversity somewhat correlated with geographic origin of the virus. However, anomalies to this pattern suggest that dispersal of host tick by migratory wildlife such as bird or the movement of livestock by people may act to perturb the normal geographic distribution of CCF virus subpopulation. So for the outbreak case, I'm gonna let my friend Muhammad Alif talk about it. Thank you.
First of all, this disease has been occurred in many countries, such as in the South African and the Middle East. Okay, the first case that I observed is from 1995 to 2013. There is 228 cases of the disease that is Crimean Congo high fever, hemorrhagic fever were reported in the Republic of Kosovo with a case fatality rate of 25.5%. The second case is in June 2014, there were cases were diagnosed in Kazakhstan. 10 people, including an ambulance crew, were admitted onto hospital in southern Kazakhstan with suspected Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever. In July 2014, an 8th person was found to be infected with the Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever at Hayatabad Medical Complex, Pakistan. The 8 patients, including a nurse and 6 Afghan nationals, died between April and July 2014. The third case is in August 2016. A number of Pakistani news sources raised concern regarding the disease. Between January and October 2016, Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever outbreaks in Pakistan were reported with highest number of cases and deaths during August 2016, just before the festival of Eid al-Adha held on September 13 to September 15 in 2016. It was hypothesized that the festival could play an important part as people could come into contact with domestic or imported animals potentially infected with the CCHF virus. The Pakistani showed there was no correlation and that the disease cases have coincided with the peak tick proliferation during the preceding 8 to 10 years. On the other cases, on February 5, 2020, an outbreak occurred in the central region of Mali. The infected are from Douentza and Mopti region. So far, 7 people have died. Okay, in addition, on 12 August, the health officials reported a Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever in Senegal. The case was detected as part of the epidemiological surveillance system in the country. The patient is a 27 years old woman living in the Pekin district in Dhaka. At the diagnosis, she presented with a fever with hemorrhagic signs, that is gingivorrhagia and metrorrhagia. And the last one, that what I observed is the health official in the Junta de Castilla Leon has confirmed a case of Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever. The confirmed case is a male who has admitted to the Salamanca University Assistant Complex for a couple days and who had been bitten by a tick in a pine forest area in province of Salamanca in late May. The infectious process caused high fever, so he went to his primary care doctor who suspected that it could be a tick-borne infection and gave him treatment. Due to his non-improvement, tests were performed and his hospital transfer was decided with the suspicion that it could be a case of Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever. So this disease occurred many ways, such as in a forest or infection from the animal. So I hope that other people can alert with this disease and take care of yourself from being bitten by anything. That's all for me. Thank you.
Clara, and for part 4, which is application of ethical principles and theories as they relate to public health issues, will be further discussed by me and Arun. So for the first part, which is duty ethics, it will cover case management and also livestock management. Firstly is case management. Healthcare workers are those that are exposed to treat patients with this disease, thus they need clinical case management. An infected individual should be isolated in different rooms as the disease can be spread through close contacts. Those who are taking care of patients with this disease are required to take precautions such as using masks, gloves, face shield, and personal protective equipment such as PPE to avoid themselves from being infected. Next, patient specimens that are required for diagnosis should be taken by an experienced staff to avoid self-inoculation. Lastly, safe burial practices are required, such as usage of bleach as disinfectant and covering dead bodies using suitable polythene bag to avoid widespread of the virus. Next is livestock management. Livestock management is part of the supply chain that manage the livestock animals and production and handling of them. Agricultural workers' contact with the animals should be minimized, as these vertebrae might be the host for these ticks to grow. Workers should be wearing tick cloths when working, using tick repellents, and avoid high possibilities of tick habitats. Lastly, when handling livestock, workers should wear gloves and protective clothing, especially when there is contact with animal skin or blood and tissues. And that's all for duty ethics.
Hello, I'm Arun. So this is right ethics. So patient rights are the basic rules of conduct between medical workers and the patient themselves. Some common patient rights are knowing their past and present medical status and be free of any mistaken beliefs, medical workers' mistakes about their condition. In addition, patients deserve to be informed with details for their treatments and procedures before each treatment section. Those patients with CCHB have their rights to know their current medical status during each follow-up section. Furthermore, since the vaccine for this disease is still under research, it is important for medical workers to ask for patients' permission for its usage. Voluntary consent clearly indicates that the patients understand that they have the rights to question the aspect of treatment used during the procedure. Thus, all the decision making about accepting healthcare treatment is made by the patients. Okay, so this is utilitarianism ethics. So, health practice and behaviors should be spread among communities to increase awareness of the disease. Furthermore, consumption of unpasteurized milk, uncooked meat, and unsafe meat preparation that will bring contact with animal blood and tissue should be avoided. Practice washing hands regularly with soap and water. Seek health advice immediately when suspected being infected. The public should follow precautions given if they have to deal with unknown areas that might have ticks. Precautions involve wearing light colored clothes for easy tick finding and using tick repellents that can be used on either skin or clothing. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you.